Hello, this is Dr. James, and today I'm going to show you how to take the IMA battery out of the Honda Insight. Okay, let's check out the operation of this car. Here we go, we'll put the keys in, hold the clutch in. If you look up here, we have the engine light on over here, and the IMA light is on, and the battery is completely depleted. I was driving the other day, and it just completely depleted the battery, and this is the charge, where it would normally charge the battery. It would come up green, and it stopped charging. So it appears that there's some kind of problem with the inertial battery in the back of the car, the hybrid battery, and so we'll go check on that. The battery's back here, and gotta pop the trunk, and we will come around and take a look in the back. Okay, so here is the back of the car. And we look inside. There is this carpeting in here, and what we want to do is we want to just kind of come in here and just kind of pull up on this, pull the carpeting out. Okay, we'll remove this carpeting here. Okay, and we'll set it over here. Okay, so there's the carpeting. And there's also kind of a little foam thing that goes over the spare tire. We'll kind of pull that guy out. And we'll set him aside. And take a look inside of here. Okay, so there's where the spare tire is under here, covered up by this little piece of plastic. And then, what does this say here? This says, warning, high voltage. Okay. So, you can be killed or hurt. Do not remove this cover. No customer service parts inside. So that's exactly what we're going to do. 144 volts. Now remember, anything above 60 volts, if it goes through one hand, through your heart, and out the other, it will kill you. So be very careful when dealing with high voltage. Okay, so this is where the battery is located, the IMA unit. Okay, so here's where the cover is for the battery pack, and it looks like it has a whole bunch of bolts we got to take apart. So let's just start taking stuff apart and see what happens. Now these bolts here seem to be 10 millimeter, so I got a 10 millimeter ratchet here, and we'll just start taking these things apart. Unloosen, of course. We'll take off this thing first. Hopefully nothing falls down inside. But we're going to take this all apart anyway, so let's see what's under here. Okay. This doesn't seem to want to come apart. It's got some kind of gasket sealing it. Okay, so here's the back of our battery. Now I was a little bit reluctant to take these things off before because it's got some kind of sealing thing here, but I removed the two bolts, pull it off, and it looks like there is a circuit breaker under there. That circuit breaker, I believe, is a circuit breaker that turns the battery on and off. It disconnects it. So let's try flipping that thing off and see what happens. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so this circuit breaker has like a little, let's move the camera up here a little bit more so we can see down there. Okay. Okay, so here is the fuse switch that disconnects the battery, and there's a little red thing over the top of it, so you actually have to pull this up. You can pull this off and remove that. I don't know if you can see that okay. So it's a little red thing that prevents you from pulling the circuit breaker down. Now we can flip it off, and I guess so we don't lose it, we could stick it back on upside down to kind of lock the thing out. Okay? And now you want to do that before you open up the batteries and try to work on them, because this is very dangerous and you don't want to get electrocuted. And so this is the way you can flip off the batteries if they're starting to act up and you don't want to damage them even more while you're driving. Okay, so here's where the cover is for the battery pack, and it looks like it has a whole bunch of bolts we got to take apart. So let's just start taking stuff apart and see what happens. If you look around the outside, there's a whole bunch of 10mm bolts there, so we'll start loosening all those up and see what happens. Okay. I guess we'll climb right inside. Okay. Okay, all loosened up. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of these things on the other side as well, so we'll start taking all those apart. Seems a little bit looser. The first one's tight, so I don't seem to be able to undo it by hand. We'll take that one off. And we'll get this one too. Okay. And we'll finish taking this guy off. Okay. And then there's some more of these bolts up at the top up here. Okay, so we have some more 11mm bolts up here, which we will loosen up and take out. Okay. on. Some of these come out easier than others. And let's see if this is loose yet. Doesn't seem to be loose. So there is also some kind of plate thing over here that's overhanging this top plate that I think we have to take off. And it's got some of these plastic Phillips screws. So we have a Phillips screwdriver here. I'm gonna take these guys off. Oh God, it's one of those things where it's a pain to get out. Those terrible plastic things that never pop up when they're supposed to pop up when you turn them. Okay, we'll save those for a little bit. Okay. Everything seems to be pretty solid here still. It looks like there's some more 10mm screw covers down here, kind of down in the wheel well. I don't know if you can see down there. Zoom in a little bit. There's one right there. I'll take that guy off because it looks like that thing is holding the cover on. Loosen it up a little bit more. Okay, and there's actually another one over here in the corner, and we will try to take this guy off as well. See what else. Okay, so it looks like there's this plate back here, which I was trying to take off a little bit ago. It does have some 10mm screws in the back of it that we could probably take off. There's one right here. There's another one right here, so we'll try taking these things off. See if we get this plate out of the way. Maybe there's some other screws up under here or something that's preventing us from taking the cover off. Okay, and then there's a second screw up here. Loosen that guy up here, and loosen those up and take them out. See if this plate is possibly covering up something, maybe in this region up here. Or there might be another screw. Looks like it's covering up the cover for the... Okay, so we've loosened up these screws here and here. Let's try to pull these out. Oh, that one's still tight. Sure it's under here. This case still doesn't want to come off. Okay, it looks like there's actually 3 more screws that can come out. There's one up under here, and then there's 2 down here. No, wait, actually those aren't attached to the case. This is the only one attached to the case, so we'll try taking that one off too. Get in there. Screw that guy. Okay. See if this cover's coming loose shut. Okay, it looks like there's a bunch of star screws that are holding it on still. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so we got all the other 10mm bolts out around the edges taken out, but see here there's a whole bunch of star shaped screws. A constellation up there. About 6 of them. Let's take a little bit closer look at these guys. Okay, so yeah, it's one of those funny star-shaped things. So let's see if we have a tool that can remove those. Okay, so it turns out in my arsenal of tools, I have one of these little star-shaped bits. Okay, Okay, so we have this tool here. So now we'll just go around and loosen up these 6 bolts here. These are the ones that they put in there with a special tool to try to prevent you from working on the stuff yourself. They like to charge you about $1,000 an hour at the dealership to work on your car for you. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now we have all those bolts out. Let's see if this thing comes loose yet. Oh, it's getting close. Looks like there might be some more bolts up under here. Okay. Well, it looks like there's a little piece of cloth up at the top, and it's got those plastic rivet things up there, and we're going to have to peel that up and get under there because there's some more bolts, and that should be it, looks like. So let's see if we can figure out how to do that. Okay, right here is one of those plastic things that's getting in our way because this carpeting's covering up the bolts. So let's try taking our handy dandy little screwdriver and we'll get under this thing and see if we can just pry it up. That seems like a good way to get it out of there. Okay. Looks like it's coming. Okay. And there we go. And there's a couple more in here. So let's just go ahead and get these things out of here. Here's another one over here. Pry him up. Okay. And then there's one more on the other side over here. Okay. So we'll try to get under here and pry this guy up. Oh, God, come on. There we go. Okay. It looks like we have all these guys pried up. Now let's pull them out of here so they don't get lost down inside. We work on this thing a little bit more. Okay, I forgot to mention the star bit that I used earlier on these other bolts up here was a T30, just in case you want to get the exact tools. And I put my 10mm socket back on here, and we will try to break these bolts away. So it looks like they're holding the top of this thing on, preventing us from getting into the battery. Okay, there's 1, 2. Here's number 3. And here's number 4. And number 5. Looks like there's another one way over in the corner over here, because there's a bar that goes all the way across the top. So we may have to undo all of these. Yeah, there's one in the far corner over here too. So I don't know if you can see that. Zoom in there. There's one in the very far corner over there, and the opposite far corner as well. Get in there and break him free. And we'll do the other one. The other one's over in this corner. Okay, let's take all these screws out. Pull these screws out at the top of here. We'll see if that helps us out at all. Okay, so I'm going to undo these little Phillips screw things here, my Phillips screwdriver, and I found out that if I just kind of pull up on this and torque it a little bit, I can get under there, and the screw kind of pops up, and then I can screw it out. Okay. here's those crappy fastener things that I hate so much that I always strip out. The screw goes in there and pushes these fins out, and those things I always strip out. Okay, got one more over here. See if we can get that one to pop up. Looks like it will. Just by putting a little bit of torque on it. Get it popped up, and I can unscrew it. Pull the center thing out, and then the other one comes out. Okay, so now we have this whole plate free. And it's detached from the top of our battery. So, take a look here. See if we can figure out if anything else is holding. See if we can figure out if anything else is holding us back. Let's try to move this plate. It seems pretty loose. It's a little bit stuck on the styrofoam over there. Let's give it a little helping hand. Okay, looks like it's going to need some more persuasion. Take a look at it some more. Okay, so it looks like there's aluminum bar across the top here. Starting over here and going over here, still holding the battery down because it kind of has a lip that goes over the top of the battery. So let's try removing that. There's a bolt on that side, another bolt over on this side. Let's try taking this thing apart. Fortunately, everything is 10 millimeters, so pull this guy out. We'll pull the other guy out as well. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's part of the rest of the car. Oh, wait. There's actually some bolts on the other side as well. Okay, so if we come in to the cockpit of the car, and we've already undone this carpeting, you can see under the lip here, there's a bunch of these, more of these screws. And so, we will take our handy dandy ratchet, and we will take these apart as well. And undo all these bolts. Okay. Okay, we'll just pull them all out. Okay, and so there's 1, 2, 3 over there. Looks like there's a 4th one in the corner. 5 and 6 of them that we have to take out. So let's just start. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Okay, so after removing these 6 bolts up in the front, actually I can only remove 5 of them, one of them is stuck in there, but I believe I can get it up enough. This whole thing lifts up, and then it allows this battery to be freer. So let's take a look and see if we can get this guy out of here now. Okay. Let's try to... Okay, so with this bar up here loosened up, we can get in here. It looks like the battery is freer. Battery cover, so we can maybe pull this thing off and see what's underneath. Holding it down. Something in here maybe? Okay, I see. I think I see what the problem is. Okay, let's take a look down inside of the fuse thing. This looks like there is a little screw right there that's bolting this whole thing together. And so we'll see if we can pull that off. Okay, let's see if we can get down in there. I don't know if you can see that very well. We'll screw in there, and we can, looks like we can turn it with a crescent wrench. Crescent wrench, one of my favorite tools. You have to be careful not to chew up the edges of it, the nut though, when you're using it. Okay. Okay, so now we pulled that screw out, and I think, yep, that was the last thing holding the plate on. So let's see how this plate will come out. Okay, there we go. And oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Here is the inside of the IMA, Inertial Motor Assist. I believe that's what it stands for. And I believe this is the inverter possibly over here. And the battery inside of here. The blower. Looks pretty fancy, huh? Okay. And so there's where your IMA battery is, and of course we've turned off the circuit breaker here so we don't get electrocuted. Okay. And this is Dr. James. Thanks for watching.